Good.
All right, we are back with Titans Report podcast tonight. First thing we have to cover is the extension, or was it a resigning? I forgot what it was for Jeff Simmons. It was an extension, right?
Yeah, extension.
All right, let's pull up the details of the extensions. Extension. All right, here we go. Let me share that. All right. Jeff Simmons has a extension to his contract, 3 years and $105.8 million through the 2030 season, and he is the highest paid defensive line player in NFL history. He will have a $35.3 million annual per year contract. He This probably means he's gonna stick with the Titans throughout his career. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. This is good, and by the time we are contending for a Super Bowl again and get that team built around him again, as it should be by that point, he will be a voice in the locker room that these players are going to be looking up to and following his lead from his example and taking that and becoming better players, in which Jeffrey Simmons has already shown us that already throughout the past as a younger player, looking up to these other veteran players and bettering himself as a player and a person. Not saying he was a bad person off the field, but it makes you even a better person to have these veterans in there, like Jeff Simmons is already to this day. I feel like it's perfect for the Titans and as well for Jeff Simmons. What are your thoughts about the extension?
Yeah, it was really gonna matter how long this was gonna get done, right? We were kind of everyone was kind of feeling the summer. What is that extension gonna look like? We'll talk about another guy in just a moment who I think will get one this summer as well. Yeah, I like it. Jeff Simmons, highest paid defensive tackle, deserved it. Last year, career highs for him. 11 sacks, which was the most as a defensive tackle since Jarrell Casey. 60 quarterback pressures, 67 tackles. I don't think it's about the stats on the field. Jeff Simmons really is stepped up as a leader in the locker room, the clubhouse. This guy wants to win more than anybody in that locker room. Frankly, everybody wants to win, but Jeff Simmons has really stepped up as a leader in the last 2 seasons for this Titans organization. He loves his organization and he wanted to stay. But the thing when you look on the contract is he had no more guaranteed money left on the deal. This year and next year, he'll earn around 26 and 28 million dollars. So he wanted to make sure he has more that money guaranteed. So their goal was to meet right in the middle, and Mike Bergonzi and the agency, Jeff Simmons, they all got it done, and it's a good time. I'm very impressed on how Jeff Simmons, it was kind of asked on Wednesday in the media. Someone's asking, "Hey, what's your thoughts about the contract situation?" He's like, we're going to get it done. So, he was not worried about it. And frankly, he should have not been worried. And guess what? It happens 2 days later on Friday. I'm very impressed in what I've seen from Jeff. And I think he's going to have a big year this year. I think Pierre Shronsky is going to get an extension this summer as well. I think it's also going to matter how long it's going to take. I think it won't scare me necessarily if they wait for Shronsky, but they wanted to get Jeff done, is my understanding. And for a guy that does everything for the state of Tennessee, for the Titans, for the organization off the field, he deserves it. 100%, every single penny. He deserves everything he got.
If you want to compare it to the old school Titans from the early years, this is similar to it's a combination of Eddie George and McNair. They were the leaders of those teams, specifically on the offense, but mainly the whole team itself, and how they were off the field, how they supported not just this, where they were in Tennessee, but Nashville specifically. So I feel like that's more similar to what Jeff Simmons is to this Titans to this day. But we have that one compared to those two back in those days. Good comparison.
See, I wasn't alive for Eddie and Steve. Really in that day, I was 04, baby. Yeah, I mean Jeff Simmons. I'm just gonna tell you on the defense side of the ball, he reminds me a lot like those guys. You know, I think Eddie and Steve. I have to do all my own research, of course, but um, it's a good comparison. I just love what Jeff brings to the field, man. That guy loves the game of football every single down. What I recommend to people, if you don't see off the field stuff for Jeff Simmons, watch a Titans community and just see how he impacts Tennessee, because that's really what's something I think fans don't understand when these guys are football players, right? These guys get looked, oh, you guys see him 17 games a year. Watch him off the field. And I think that's what really impressed me with Jeff Simmons. He's mature, he's ready to go, he's fiery. But, Jurrell Casey, he reminds me a lot like him. Casey took him in. I think it was like 2019 when Jeff got drafted in the first round. Casey was his mentor. And he took everything under Casey. And he reminds me exactly like who he is as a player. I'm very excited to see what he's going to fit in Salah's rotation this year, because Salah's going to do a lot of different snaps than Jeff is going to, because Jeff Simmons was there on every single down. That's not going to happen this year. Jeff's going to rotate a lot, first, second, third. I think you want to get him more on those third down situations where he can blitz and get to the quarterback. His mentality's there, and he just wants to win. That's what Jeff Simmons wants. So good in comparison to Steve and Eddie.
Yes, and another player I like to, like, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, I like that comparison to Casey. But another early day Titans, Javon Curse. It's kind of that old school mentality football player he has in him. He's like, okay, I'm gonna come at you, hit you hard, play till the whistle blows type of player. That's what you want on your team. And then also off the field, he doesn't do anything that breaks the law, does stuff like that you've seen with other players this offseason have proven. With Simmons, all you hear is nothing. That's what you want. And that's what you got. That's a good example for these teams to look at. How to have a leader and build around that.
And they've done that. They've built around him this offseason. I mean, they've done everything they've have. I mean, when you add like a guy like John Franklin Myers, who also had same production like Jeff last year, not the same numbers, but the same production, right? Good run defender, solid guy there. But I think it's also really impressive that you add also guys on the outside like Jermaine Johnson. Also is a guy that I really I like as well. Jeff, you add a defensive coach for Jeff, and the thing that's going to be interesting this year is it's a new scheme, and Jeff hasn't played this scheme, I don't think, since like 2019, early in days. I don't think he's ever played the 4-3 scheme on defense. But you finally have to build around him, and fortunately, some guys last year like Devondre Sweat, Arden Key, Jihad Ward weren't really fits on this defensive line. You fixed it. You got guys, and I'm a little worried about Femi. I'll be honest with you right now today, but with the guys outside by that, I mean, you got Martin I talked about earlier, who's going to make an impact. You got Johnson, who's going to make an impact. I think Keldrick Falk is going to do something this year also. So you add pieces. This defensive line's young, and I think Jeff Simmons is going to lead him a lot way this year. I wonder, Brady, what's your stat prediction for Jeff this year? What do you think? How high sacks he goes, pressures, all that stuff? What do you think for him this year?
Let me take a look at his stats throughout his career, and then I'll come up with something. Let's see here. Let's look at his Pro Football Reference here. They're saying his career. So last year he had 11 sacks, 39
Yeah, that was
solo.
most of his career. So, well, the question is how high and how low Jeff's going to go this year, though.
I think at best, I think he will be over what he had last season. If it's under, it's got to be close to where it was last season. So it's similar where he was last season. If that's the floor for the ceiling, I think he can be even better. Like maybe if the defense gives him, or the defense gives him those opportunities
Mhm.
that helps him get to those pressured quarterbacks or even sacks. If he gets the sack opportunity against the quarterback, I feel like he could break the record of sacks and get defensive player of the year. That type of player this
You
season.
think he's going 23
What do
this
you
year?
think?
You think he's going 23? Because that was Myles Garrett had 23 last year. So
I
you think Jeff
believe,
has a chance
yeah,
to make
I think,
23? Okay,
yeah,
I like
I
that.
think he can get 23. Yeah.
I think Jeff will get almost the same amount, if not more, this year. I think it's going to be interesting to see because I think everyone's going to rotate on the defensive line this year, like I just mentioned, right? I want to see how much if Jeff Simmons gets a chance to
Mhm.
play outside. I am very interested to see how they move him around in in that defensive line because John Franklin Myers get moved around a lot, right? He's not primarily he could go inside. I can see John Franklin Myers going inside, but he can also go outside, right, on this defensive line. So where are you going to figure these pieces around? I think Jeff Simmons, I think over under is starts at 10 and a half. I think he'll get close to like 15, 20, if not. But again, we don't really know too much of the rotation guys yet, like how they're going to do that as of today. But I think Jeff gets 14, 15 this year. I think John Franklin Myers gets close to 10. I think Jermaine Johnson gets a bounce back year, gets 8, 9, or around that area, maybe 7, 8. But I think the thing, like I mentioned, I'm excited. These guys are gonna be fresh. These guys are gonna be really fresh. These guys are gonna be more healthier this year, and I think it's gonna be more impressive that you're gonna see because I look at snap counts every single game. Teron or Jim or any of these guys put like the snap counts on the chart. I'm interested to see after week one when we play the New York Jets, what is that snap count for Jeff Simmons, Jermaine, Femi, all these guys in that one. It's gonna be interesting. Um, I want to hit on Pierce Stronsky. I think he's gonna get extension. I think Stronsky sooner than later is gonna get extension. He is one of the best offensive guards, youngest offensive guards in the league. He had a step up from last year, and I want to. And I'm not in panic mode for Pierce Stronsky this year. I don't, if they don't do it in time, I'm not worried. But I think you gotta do it sooner than later. I think the Titans got to lock him down. I think a 3 to 5 year deal is appropriate for Stronsky. He still has 2 more years left, right? He has this year, and then you got the 5th year option in 2027. So I think the deadline is next summer, 100%. But right now, it has to wonder to you, he's playing at an all pro level. Do you do it now? Or do you wait because if he becomes more expensive, because if the offensive guard market goes a little more up, Brady, that's the question. How much are you willing to pay how much Sharonsky? I think Sharonsky's going to get close up to 20. I think he could get close up to 15, 20 a year. But I don't know top of my head who's the highest paid offensive guard right now. But the biggest question I'm looking at is if you wait, the money's going to keep going up, and it's going to keep on waiting. Then I want him to get one done now. I think he will, but I think Stronsky's going to get one. I honestly thinking you're looking at young guy Cedric Gray can very much get one. I can see if Latham has a good year, he might be able to be in contention too. I very much can see Jermaine Johnson getting one as well. He's 1 year deal left too. So there's a lot of guys on this defensive line, but I think Stronsky is the next man up for sure.
Yes, that's the thing to look out for, and that's what sports teams struggle with. Not just in NFL, but other sports, is with those like end of term contracts. It's like, oh, do we wait and pay them a lot more when there's nothing on there and when they're free agents, or trade them and get value back, or extend them while the price value is a little bit cheaper,
Yeah.
and you have more cap flexibility to get the players that you're going after. That's
Yeah.
what teams struggle with. It's like that. Ooh, who do we pay? Who do we not
Right.
pay? So I see, I see what you're saying. And to
Mm.
answer your question for the highest guard that's paid, I don't know if it's still guaranteed, but it was signed in 2023. It ends in 2028. So 3 more seasons. This season, next season, I think it's it ends 28. So 2 years left. Is Chris Lindstrom on the Falcons?
Oh, Lindstrom, Atlanta. That's right.
So yeah,
All
he's still
pro.
he has
Put it on.
48 million guaranteed still. So that was
Okay.
at a 102.5 million value.
Wow.
So that's the highest guard at the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't think
isn't
Swarovski's not
Tyler
get
Smith up there too?
at
Tyler
that
Smith
range. I
must be
think.
up there. He's up there. Smith's up there.
Let me share
Dickerson's up there.
that screen.
I think he's gonna get close up to. I'm
Yeah,
looking at the
Trey
range
Smith
right
is up
now,
there.
so
Yeah,
I think he's gonna get 20. I think he's gonna get 15 to 20 is or 17 to
yeah.
20 is what
I think you
Swarovski's
can
gonna fall.
get.
This is a good topic, by the way, on a Friday
So right
night.
in between Trey Smith and Quentin Nelson. So right in
Yeah,
between
Smith
Trey
is
Smith and
paid, dude.
Quentin Nelson range, because Nelson's at 30 million and Trey Smith is at 23.5 million. So in that middle point, are you saying?
Yeah.
Because Will Price is 17.5. So you're saying 20 million.
I think it's 20.
So right in the
I think it's
middle would
around
be.
20.
So yeah,
I
that would be
don't.
a good spot for him.
I think 17 to 20 is a good spot for him right now. I still question
Yeah.
if Borgonzi wants to wait for one more year, but he's your best offensive line, Brady. You gotta lock him up now. He's the best guy you have right now currently. And we'll talk about that. I want to get to that in just a minute too. I don't like the offensive line right
Right.
now. I feel very uncomfortable about the four guys on the line. I like the Sharonsky, but I just think that the way he stepped up is, I think he's been better last year than the year before. So I'm excited to see it. We'll see what heck happens, but I think Sharonsky is going to get one sooner than later.
Yeah. So OTAs are over with. Mini
goodness.
camps are over. Yeah. Let's see here the schedule. I believe we're
Yeah,
at
so
mini camps,
they just got done with mini camp last week on
That's right.
Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere like that.
Right.
They do not return to the field, and well, the rookies actually got announced late yesterday. The rookies return on the 23rd of July, and then the veterans return on the 28th. That is probably one of the latest availabilities I've had to see in a very long time, because I think last year was like the 22nd. I could be wrong, but this year they're doing it a little bit later.
Yes, that's the training camp, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the latest it's been in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little because Jeff Simmons actually brought it up in the press conference too. He's like, "Yeah, I'm excited to be back in late July." So I know the media side's a little more excited to have some more time off now. So
Yeah. So I'm screen sharing this with the viewers. So
yep.
Rookies report on the 23rd, the vets on the 28th, and then we have 3 joint practices for the 3 preseason games. First one's on the 11th out in Santa Clara with the 49ers, and then the 21st with the Seahawks in Nashville, and then 27th with the Bears in Nashville. So that's your dates for training camps and joint training camps for the Titans. And if you guys do want to go, it's at Vanderbilt Health Football Center in Nashville.
Yes, a great name in Nashville now.
Yeah, it used to be the hospital, whatever. I can't remember now. Sorry, guys.
It was Ascension, St. Thomas Sports Park.
St. Thomas, that's right.
But the contract expired, so when the contract expired, they had to think of someone else, and Vanderbilt came along, and they're like, "Hey, we want to do this." So
makes sense. So if y'all guys want to go, that's the dates and location.
Yep.
So I saw somewhere saying Restrepo is looking good this at practices this year.
Yeah, I mean, Restrepo looked good last year too. I mean, he showed up last year during OTAs and mini camp, but once he put the pads on, he got a little more quiet. For Restrepo last year, if I remember, he's the eighth man on this wide receiver depth chart. I think you're gonna have to look at the sixth and final spot. I don't think they'll keep seven. I wouldn't rule it out, but today, currently, I think they're gonna keep six. The question is that I'm still wondering right now is if you do keep six, the guys are in contention, or KJ Osborne, Ty Montgomery, and then you still have Bryce Oliver in front of you. So really, between Osborne and Montgomery, I think Strepo's over Montgomery, but Osborne's right in front, right in between those guys, right? So really, he's around the eighth guy on this receiving depth chart. My understanding is that he's absolutely been kicking it so far, and it's good to see. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it is really good to see Xavier Strepo
Yeah.
dominate. But the question is, do you want him more than Bryce Oliver? Do you feel like you can resign him back to the practice squad? Do you all of these questions come to play? So I really, even though he had a good minicamp and even though he had a good OTAs and he stood out, he had 26 catches, I think, in the 7 sessions media was there, I think. It does make you question how long is this going to have to take for fans to say, okay, is this a real possibility Strepo is going to be on the roster? The only thing that he really struggles with, and it's not even his fault, it's just a special teams role. He needs to see how he is in that aspect. Because I think Bryce Oliver is a better special teamer right now. But I think Restrepo could potentially, if he works more with Fossil, maybe he could potentially. But right now, I think it's Bryce Oliver's 6-man spot. I'd love to see Restrepo, but he's more of a slot guy. And you have two of them on your roster right now with Wandell and Chim. But I think Chim's going to move around. But it's going to be interesting. But I think Oliver
Yeah.
was a 6 spot currently today. But he did have a good practice, which was good. But I think that's what also the thing about Cam Ward too is that fans are saying, oh, Cam Ward didn't have a great practice and this and that. You gotta let him put the pads on and you gotta let the first teams go out there. And we'll talk about that later. But Shrub had a good practice. I just don't know if he makes the team right now though, currently.
Yeah. So I'm showing the viewers the depth chart on our lads. So currently they're saying Tate will be wide receiver 1. The left side. The right side is Calvin Ridley. Slot is Robinson. The player number 2 is the way they list it. Adam Mariner is behind Tate. Oliver is behind Ridley. DK is behind Robinson. And then third and fourth spots. So third, you got Kinsey, Osborne, Restrepo.
Yep.
And then fourth, you got Montgomery, McCutcheon, and Betty. And got 1/5, that'd be Jackson. So that's how it's looking right now.
And I brought it up. I really do like Hank Beatty though. That guy absolutely looks impressive as well on the second team. So I think he's going to be a guy they're going to keep on the practice squad right now as well. Ty Montgomery I like too. I mean he's been a guy that I think should have gotten drafted. But obviously he didn't. Right, he kind of fell, and you always find those hidden gems. And he's a guy that's played a lot of D3 college and. He's not really faced too many top opponents at Georgia State, but he's a guy to watch too. Excuse me, John Carroll. I'm sorry, I mixed him with Ted Hurst accidentally, but he's a guy to watch. I really do like Ty Montgomery. Again, I just don't know if he makes over Osborne and Oliver as of right now, bearing any injuries that happen right now currently. But I'm watching both Montgomery and Beatty to make the practice squad along with Strepo.
Yeah, I think if those players don't make it, I think there would be a perfect spot at the practice squad. Like if we have an injury throughout the season, there would be a good pull up from practice squad replacements for like a short period. I wouldn't expect them have any expectations on them if they have to do a long term thing, because if you have them long term for a longer injury, you don't know what to expect for these younger players.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to put too much expectations on them so quickly, and they don't hit that. You want to give them a short period and see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
happened last season. It's like, oh, okay, let's see how Adam Miner does.
Mhm.
They did really well, and we're giving them another shot this season, although they're on a rookie contract. So I don't expect those two to be on practice squad during their rookie contracts unless something odd happens, but I doubt that. So that's what I'm thinking about those players on my side of things. So now to the main event of our stream, what ifs. This is the first part of what
Yes.
ifs. Let me add the stage. There we go. So I did this a while back ago. So it's alternate history.
Ooh.
So it's pretty
Okay.
much like a redraft alternate history. So starting in '95. So I did like a 4-7 round redraft because it's like, okay, it's too hard to do how it ended up. So first I had Warren Sapp on our defensive line. That would have been sick. Round 2, Ty Law. Round 3, Antonio Freeman. Round 4, Terrell Davis. Round 5, please forgive me if I get this last name wrong, Corey Schlesinger. Okay, sounds like I got it right. Round 6, Adam Timmerman. And round 7, Jason Fisk. So the last 2 rounds, offensive line. So 95 in McNair's draft. So you can play it both ways. You still have McNair. I'll get to further along on this and can still play it both ways. But I gave us Warren Sapp in the first round to make that defense a little bit more potent. And then gave us Terrell Davis. I'll get to why I gave us Terrell Davis in that 95 draft later on. You guys will know. Wait for it. What do you think about it so far?
Yeah, I wasn't even alive during that point. I was not even thinking thought. But hey, man, the biggest question I have for you is if we didn't go McNair, who would have been the quarterback that year for Tennessee? That's my biggest question.
So
We'll get
that
into that.
that question, it would be later on, but like you can play it both ways. But let's say if you didn't, I'd say I believe the quarterback at the time was Chris Chandler. So stick with him until the contract was over with. And then I don't know, that's the question, but that was the biggest one I had. It's like, okay, do you stick with what you already have and also just dip your feet in the free agency and have a veteran quarterback there for later on for a surprise at the end of this redrafts? You gotta be shocked, everyone. Honestly, you gotta be shocked. So let's go to 96. I kept it the same with Eddie George. Gave us another offensive line player in round 2. Jonathan Ogden. Round 3, Brian Dawkins. Round 4, Teddy Bruschi.
Oh,
Round,
dog. Brewski's a dog.
yeah. Round 5, Terrell Owens. Round 6, John Runnan. I believe we had him. I can't remember.
Look
I
that
think
up.
we did before he went to Philly, unless he was in Green Bay. I could be wrong, but and then round 7, Zach Thomas. So these first 2 drafts sets up offensive defenses in the perfect spot for the future as well. So what do you think about 96 so far? With Eddie George, Ogden, Dawkins. You already said Bruce is a dog, I agree with you.
Mhm.
Owens, Runnan, and Zach Thomas.
I love Brian Dawkins, man. I mean, one of the hardest hitting safeties, one of the most dangerous guys to put on a helmet, probably.
Yeah.
Him and Ray Lewis are probably the two dangerous guys in defense to put on a helmet. Um, Owens too. Owens would have been a great receiver weapon for McNair. If you still went McNair 95, 96, you would have had Owens. Yeah, I mean, um, man, we would have probably got a Super Bowl by then if we had any of those guys. So I like the Brewski pick. I was actually funny enough, that's my brother's favorite one of his favorite players,
Wow.
back over there. So he always brags about him all the time. But yeah, man, I mean, honestly, you should just be the GM at this point. Because honestly, at this at this point, I forgot he went that late. I thought he went in the third or second round. Second round. I forgot he went in the fourth round. I looked it up. Excuse me, third round. I thought he went in the second or first round earlier. But
I
hey,
also played
yeah.
what if like the original team to draft him, what if they slipped a little bit later, like to us, or like if that we would get them earlier. I did it that way too. It's like, okay, what if this happened and that happened? So I did it that way as well. So let's go to 97. First round, I got Orlando Pace, add more power to that offensive
Ooh.
side. Protection there. Round 2, Darren Sharper. Round 3, Rondé Barber. Round 4, Jason Taylor. Run defenses here, crazy. Round 5, Matt Vrabel doesn't go to Pittsburgh or New England. He comes to Nashville, no matter what. Still, before he even came to Nashville. Round 6, we still get Derek Mason. Round 7,
Yes.
Al Harris.
Okay.
So that draft was a little bit more more depth there. So you get more rotations there,
Mm-hmm.
and you still keep Derek Mason, or you still get Derek Mason there at the end there.
I like it. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Hayes would have been a good pick.
Yeah, hopefully this time he doesn't leave.
Yeah, but Mike Vrabel would have been interesting in Jeff Fisher's team. I would love to see Mike Vrabel with Jeff Fisher. That
Yeah,
would be crazy.
yeah. Well, let's go to 98. It's gonna get quite interesting here. Round 1, Charles Woodson on the defense. So I played it as if. So the reason why I have Randy Moss in round 2 is because when he was trying to go to Florida State, or I think it was at Florida State. He got in trouble with the law, and then he transferred to Marshall, and Marshall, that's where he became Randy Moss. That was before Randy Moss in Minnesota. So I had him drop to the second round. So I had us Titans getting him in round 2, or at the time the orders 98, and then round 3 still get Kevin Dyson. So that'd be good. 1, 2, 3, puncher Dyson, Moss, and Owens. Round 4, Patrick Surtain. Round 5, Jeremiah Trotter. Round 6, Hines Ward. Round 7, RIP Pat Tillman. Hopefully this time he doesn't die, but he still goes to war, knowing his mindset. What are your thoughts about 98?
Oh, my apologies. I was muted. Yeah, Randy Moss and Kevin Dyson back to back. And by the way, we're doing this when Kevin Dyson was his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Dyson.
Yep, happy birthday, Kevin Dyson. Woodson, man, again, another guy that was one of the best underrated cornerbacks in the NFL in that era. I forgot Randy Moss went in 98. Holy smokes. I thought he went early on. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the this draft, I have it on the screen right here. I do like where the only pick I would really change though is the defensive back, because you did pass on Woodson, but I do like Woodson. But if you didn't get Woodson, you got Samari Rural, which is also one of the best defensive backs in the Titans history too. So that's the only thing I do like. I do like Patrick Surtain. Funny enough, his son plays. His dad also. But you got some solid defensive guys, and if you had those guys in that team, you probably would have won 99 against the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl.
Well, at the time, St. Louis.
That's right. That's right. That's St. Louis.
So now to 99. And a little bit more defense too. Round 1, Champ Bailey. Round 2, Javon Parrish to keep him. Round 3, add to the offensive line with Damian Woody. Round 4, Antoine Winfield. Round 5, Dre Bly. Round 6, Joey Porter. Round 7, a sneaky good slot wide receiver in Brandon Stokely. What are your thoughts on 99?
I don't know if Curse makes it the second round. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. He very much could, right? We got to go back in time to go see that. I like the Joey Porter pick. That's one of my favorites there. Champ Bailey, one of the best. You can't you can't deny it, my friend. He's still one of the best. Um, and honestly, I'll be honest with you. When I was growing up, he was actually one of my favorite guys. When my dad kept showing me highlights of just Champ Bailey, he showed me a lot. I mean, this guy's a 12-time Pro Bowl, 3-time first team All Pro. Um, he one of the top defenders in the draft. Hey, I just remembered there's a couple guys that are also good in that draft. I just don't know. The only question I do have is I don't know if Curse falls to the second round is my biggest thing. Bailey though, that guy's a dog.
Yeah.
I like the draft though.
I got a lot of viewing time of Tim's like in real life here, not pretend life here, but since my mom is a big Broncos fan, so it's like I've seen a lot of Champ Bailey. So even if in pretend world he would still end up being a good player. So you got that type of player. Heck yeah, go after him. So this is the next draft in 2000. This is where y'all get shocked. This is the reason why, one of the reasons why I'm doing the what ifs, and so this is like based off of, let's say if you're gonna go to Super Bowl in that 2000 season, and we kept somewhat struggling throughout that time period, and if we got that first round, got that number 1 overall pick, let's say in a hypothetical world, we get his whole career on the Titans instead of other teams. Wait for it. Tom Brady, first round. Round 2, you still get Keith Burlick. Round 3, you still get Aaron Kinney. Round 4, you still get Pierre Sherman. Round 5, you got former Steeler Cardinal in real life, Clark Higgins. Round 6, Neil Rackers. Round 7, Deshaun Polk. So that's the big one right there, Tom Brady. So that can go both ways right there. So that's why I was saying wait for the end. I can explain why it goes both ways there.
And you saved the best for last with Tom Brady in the first round. You saved the best for last, the GOAT. We would have won the Super Bowl if we had Tom Brady in 99.
Yeah, sure.
That would have been crazy. I like that draft. I don't know so much on the later guys in the sixth and 7th round, but you get Brady and Bullock, you can't complain about that. And Mr. Mennonite, one of the best linebackers in history. I think he is the best linebacker in Titans history. But you had one of the best quarterbacks, the GOAT. Always will be the GOAT, Tom Brady. Can't get better than that. Love him.
So the both ways part is, let's say if we still have McNair, so the McNair side of it, and we draft Tom Brady, even though we did go to the Super Bowl and lose it against the Rams, and how Tom Brady slid, let's say that we did get him, you get that mentorship, you still would get like he did in New England with Drew Bledsoe. I'm gonna say Drew Brees. That's a couple years or a year or so before Breeze got drafted. But you still get that. But with the injuries that McNair had, you can get that pressure off him and say, rest, heal up, right?
Yep.
And you still have Tom Brady. And with this setup, like let's say with the way I did the redrafts, you put him in the best spot right there. And he can learn quick, just like he did in New England. And let's say if something happened to us as it did in New England, I would take that any day in that situation. That would have been gold instead of this almost 30-year pain of being 1 yard short. Jeez.
Still haunts us to our day, my friend.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. The other reason why this was a thing I wanted to target on is that I don't know if you saw it. I think it was a couple days ago. I watched this guy on YouTube, another Titan YouTuber. I'm trying to remember his YouTube channel. It's like, oh God, hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Two-Tone Podcast. So his
Brad
name
Steele,
is Brad. Yeah, Brad Steele, yeah. So he did, I don't know when he did it, but let me double check. He did a, I believe it was 10 what ifs on his. Oh, biggest what ifs in Tennessee Titans history. It was 5 days ago he posted it. So with his, he had like, he brought the 1 yard short, the wave Titans. For the reason why I had the picture of the other reason why I had Tom Brady in Titans jersey, especially in that version of the jersey. So remember back after our AFC Championship run, we were in the running for Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that on the video, and then like also Tannehill.
We were almost on the run for him. That's right. I remember that rumor.
Like, imagine if we did get Tom Brady after that AFC Championship run. So if we did that, I was really hoping that would have happened. Us going out getting Tom Brady, we're right there, man. We're right there. Just imagine Brady, Gronk, Henry, Simmons, like run that team back with Tom Brady and Gronk. That would have been the Super Bowl winning team in the following season. Honestly, that's crazy. So if we can do other what ifs right now, that
oh gosh, I have a lot.
tag on to those what ifs. So if you want to, you can start with what your ifs.
Oh, see, I thought about this earlier.
What's up? It doesn't have to be Titans. It can be NFL, but specifically Titans. You can play it both ways.
Yeah, common one's Marcus Mariota. I mean, what if Marcus Mariota worked out? I mean, what if he actually was the quarterback we all thought he was when we drafted him number 2 overall in 2015?
Yeah, he shown in a couple games that rookie season with the Bucks and the Saints game.
Mm-hmm.
That comeback win against the Saints. Oh my gosh, amazing game! His debut game against the Bucks and Winston. Gold. That if he had that consistently and progressed, oh man, that'd been awesome. Like I knew that going into that draft we were gonna get him. I'm like, Mariota no matter what. I don't care. I don't want Winston. No. At the time, I was like, no. Winston would be too much of like a distraction in the locker room. And then with Mariota, I'm like, okay, he's calmer, more upside in my opinion. Less of a hype, but still has hype. Winston too much hype. Needs to cool off. Look where he is at now. No more hype.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love
He's in New York, isn't he?
uh,
Giants still? He's still the Giants?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, like
But Mariota, imagine if that
mhm.
worked out. That'd been great. Especially when Henry broke out and then like going into the 2000 into this decade, that'd been whoa. That'd been amazing. But that 2019-20 season didn't. That was sad. Here's my other one, another quarterback. Uh, you're probably too young for this one. This one we burnt as well. Vince Young.
Oh, I can't remember that. I can't forget that guy. He gave me nightmares in 2005. My dad nightmares when USC when he
Yeah.
got the touchdown. Yeah, no, I remember that. Wasn't that the Jay Cutler draft?
I believe so. Let me double check.
Yeah. What if they went Jay Cutler over Vince Young?
Um, I believe so. Double checking. 06. Let's go. Give me a second here, guys. Looking at this. Yeah, Cutler was 11th, and Vince Young was 3rd. The thing was at the time, if I'm remembering this correctly, it was either Young, Bush or Lanner.
Reggie Bush was that year.
Lanner, no. But I was like, okay, Bush, Young, that was okay. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't have a quarterback. Let's go for Young because I thought I had more potential and upside, but they were so close, neck and neck. Like either way, whoever you got, Bush, Young, you've been set for a good time. But I feel like at that time, I think for where we were, I felt like Young was the better pick. Luckily enough, Bush got picked by the Saints, so the only answer at 3, in my opinion, was Young. So we got Young, and then the other thing with Bush, it was either he was also projected to go number 1 Houston, so they got Mario Williams, so that was his elevator, you can call it, escalator or whatever, range. Sorry, but I knew the whole ever since Young won that championship game with Texas against USC. I'm like, yep, it's gonna be our guy. In which we got him. But imagine if it worked out. Imagine if the team really did want. I don't know what the team was. Fisher. Fisher didn't want him.
Mm-hmm.
So, my opinion, my thought is fire Fisher. To be honest with you, at that time, I don't know, but let's just hypothetically say fire Fisher and build around Young and get a coach that really wants to coach him. That's my what if. Like,
That's a good one.
Young, yeah. What's your next one?
Oh, this is an NFL one.
Okay.
What if the Giants and the Chargers never made that trade for Drew Brees and Eli Manning?
No, it's Eli and Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers, thank you. I mixed that up. That was 04. And when you look at that, Eli's father did not want to go to San Diego, and that was a whole ugly scenario. What if Philip Rivers went to the Giants originally, and what if Eli went to the Chargers? That's my biggest that's a what if I've been thinking about for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 Hall of Fame potential quarterbacks. If they switch teams, who would have if Eli would get 2 Super Bowls in New York? Would Philip get this 2 rings? I mean, that's a big what if.
I think in my thought, Eli wouldn't get any. I
Yeah,
don't
he
think.
probably would not get any in San
I
Diego.
don't think we were that. I think if he stuck with San Diego, I think he would have played out his rookie contract and then sign somewhere else. And then for Rivers, so the Giants just signed Warner as a free agent
Mhm.
from the Rams that offseason. I believe that the fact if they had Warner and Rivers, I think Warner still would have been the starting quarterback. Probably for that season, because I know the following season he went to Cardinals. So with Rivers, I think he probably would have gotten maybe one with the Giants. And then one extra one, since I've seen hypotheticals on this. So I will give with that draft class quarterbacks there, I would give one extra to Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh
So
yeah, that's right.
so with Eli winning two, so I'll give one to Rivers and one extra with Ben Roethlisberger and none for Eli. That's how I'll split that up.
Okay.
It just depends on where Eli would have gone as a free agent. So, like, anyone could have gotten him, basically, if he was a free agent after his rookie contract, if he didn't want to be in San Diego. So, let's say, I don't know, Atlanta, because at that time, by the time he was a free agent, he was 04 draft. I'm in 09 free agent class. So, all right, let's say if, all right, that one's a hard one with that because, like, I don't know where he would have gone because his rookie contract, since he was number one overall, that's a 5-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
That pushed it to 09. I don't know, maybe Carolina? I don't know. Because Carolina at that time, that was after their home, or still had, maybe Carolina, I don't know, Washington, one of those two, but still a harder path to win the Super Bowl. So that's why I'm splitting it up. One extra one to Ben and then one the Rivers and none for Eli because it's gonna be a harder path. So now my NFL what if Mike Vick didn't get in a dogfight? In those dogfights,
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
really? So highest paid quarterback. So I believe it was a 10-year contract. At the way he was progressing, and then I have to look at the roster. It was the 06 offseason, or was that 07? I can't remember, but the roster wasn't as good as it was when he was a rookie and those first few years. But I feel like if he wasn't in dogfight, I think they would still build around him, find those players, and probably find a way to win maybe one Super Bowl. One. What do you think?
You talking about Vic winning one Super Bowl?
With the fact of him not being in dogfight situation and that keeps him to build around him.
Mm-hmm. I think they'll
Well,
get one.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, your turn.
Ooh, this is actually one that I'm actually interested in. And this is actually one that I wasn't even alive for, but I know it's one of the biggest what ifs in Titans history. Kevin Dyson not getting tackled at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
I hate to bring it up on his birthday too, but what if he
Sorry, Kev.
actually
Sorry, Kev.
I know, but if he didn't get tackled on the 1 yard line, the
Yeah.
Titans score because McNair was driving down that field. The Titans offense was going. McNair broke out of he spun away from two guys and he kept the drive going. And that was actually Dyson, the play that he got, and they got inside the red zone. What if you don't actually get tackled at the 1 and you reach just a little bit? Like, it's the same route, but you're
Mhm.
maybe a yard ahead of where you're at. You still do the same route, and then you get over the middle, and then Dyson reaches in and still gets in for the touchdown.
Right.
That's my
Does Fisher go for for the win or the one for
Yeah,
the
it's
goal? Which
true.
back then the field goal was basically right there at the goal line.
Mhm.
And then if you do tie it up, what happens with the coin toss?
I think it was 22 because
23-16.
yeah, so you had to get that. Yeah, you had to take the extra point. Yeah, that's right. So it would have been 22. So if you want to go extra, yeah, you're right.
So the question is, which back then in overtime was whoever scores first wins. So the question is with the coin toss. The thing is with the coin toss because let's say if the Rams get it first, their team best show on turf. And then plus with our defense, we're down Blaine Bishop because he got injured. I think it was right before half. Although the defense did look a little bit better in the second half. Slow start to the game, both sides of the ball. But the defense and the offense did start to look like they were getting it on there in the third and fourth. So do they hold the Rams to a 3-and-out? And if they do, there's your shot right there. And if it goes the other way, if the Titans wins the coin toss and drives it down the field, the smart thing to do is to do the field goal. So this would be the first overtime game in Super Bowl history if this had happened. So that's the question right there. It's like if you do go for two, I don't know, 16-22. So if you go for one overtime, the question is coin toss. And then
Yeah.
if you go for two, what? I don't know what type of play you would call there because you have at the time I think you had Lorenzo Neal as a fullback. And
My white check and then
tight end,
Mason Dyson.
Dyson.
Was Sanders there that year?
I believe so, yeah.
I believe he was. I believe Sanders was on that team.
Yeah. And of course, George running back. So, like, what type of plays do you call? Like, do you
Yeah.
give it to George, you run, or give it to your bigger players like Lorenzo Neal, right check, or you give it to your wide receivers, Dyson, Mason, or Sanders? That's the question. Like, what if you do go for two? What type of plays do you look at on your play sheet? I know the goal line plays, but like what? That's the question I'm coming up with. Yeah, but that's the question right there. Let me double check that roster with Sanders. I believe he was.
I believe he was too, because I think he left in like 2000 season.
Yeah, he was there. It was so with the wide receivers you had oh God. Yeah, Thigpen, what else? You have Bird, but those are rotational. They wouldn't be out there. So pretty much you have had either Dyson, Vychek, Neal, George, and Mason, and then Sanders out there. If I'm and then of course I don't know who you would go to there. If I would think I would personally do a throw play to Vychek because
Oh, Wycheck would be a good one.
He was, yeah, do a throw play to Wycheck. Let's see. So
I would
let's
love,
see
I would
what
love Lorenzo
it
Neal
says
again in
about
that involved
his
too. I know you brought him up earlier.
Wycheck 6'3", 253. And so if you do that, you can do like right down the middle. And Wycheck had really good hands, so I wouldn't be worried about it. And then with Lorenzo, 5'11", 255, he was a bigger end for a fullback. So and he's like in NFL history, he's one of the best. So I wouldn't be worried about that. Same with Eddie. Eddie's Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with wide receivers. The wide receivers were really good that year
Mm-hmm.
with Dyson, Sanders, and Mason. And then if you did like a improvised play with McNair, he was really good with improvising, as he's shown on that drive. So that's the question you would do. But I personally would call up a play for Wycheck for if you're going for the 2 points. What would you do? What would you have done if the situation was? What would it have called a play to Wycheck with going for 2? What would have been your plan?
Oh, that's a good question. Wycheck would have been an option. I'm trying to think that playbook that year because I don't know Fisher's playbook in '99. Yeah, I would have Wycheck would have been in there. I would have loved to see Chris Sanders
Yeah,
in that as well. Chris Sanders would have been a good one. Um, Mason would be in there as well. That's probably the three guys I'll target because you have to think that I think Dyson was number one that year. So when Dyson, he's probably going to get double teamed up top. Maybe try to get a guy maybe slant during the middle and see whoever gets open. And maybe you try to get maybe Lorenzo Neal in there.
right,
Maybe.
right. There is this one player that I probably forgot that we had the following season. So I did a rewatch of the first game of the 99-2000 season Bengals game. And there was this player that the wide receiver that they had was like on and off the field. Not on and off the field, but like barely on the field. And gosh, where is he? Carl Pickens. I was like, the thing that really got to me is like with Carl Pickens, I'm like, oh, is he related to George? I looked him up and he was no relations. But the thing that got me was we had him on his final season of his NFL career. That's funny. Carl Pickens. I was like, whoa, man. That's crazy. So my what if now is this is an old one. This goes back the Oilers days. Oh god, I think it was 70. I can't remember what year in the 70s it was. But it was one of those Steelers playoff runs. Let's see here. I'm Googling it right now to figure out what specific year it was. Back years, I think 79. Let me look that up. Hold on. AFC Championship game. Yeah, 79. So it was 79. There was this one play at the end. I think it was at the end. I can't remember. From hearing about it and watching it. Not watching the game, but like watching highlights and docs about it. There was a controversial call. Oilers had the ball. And let me see if I can pull this up on YouTube. So Oilers had the ball. They threw it in the end zone. They called it no touchdown, but if you see it, if you had in the replay, instant review of the play like we do now, it would have been overturned for a touchdown. Guarantee it. I guarantee it, guys. Here comes the play I'm talking about. Let me share my screen. All right, there we go.
Payments can be compromised with wireless flaky 5G business internet. With Optimum Business Secure Fiber Internet, you get built-in security.
With a minute and a half remaining in the third quarter, the Oilers 6 yards away from a tie. It is Renfroe, touchdown, or is it? Out of play. A late call. The official did not make any signal, and now apparently has said no touchdown. He did not signal.
I don't think he could see the play. He looked down the end zone line to ask a call from the other official. He did not get a call. The officials are meeting now. They're trying to get the players out so they can talk about it. They may have to get a decision from Tim Tunney.
Well, we're going to see it on the replay, and we'll be able to decide whether or not Renfroe got his feet down in time. It was a tough call, and this might be a spot where an instant replay would be important.
Let's see if the feet come down. Now he's got the ball. He does clearly get inside.
It is a touchdown.
No question about it.
It was not called one, but there's no doubt that was a Houston touchdown.
Well, they haven't made a final decision in the end zone. They're still down there talking about it. Now, there's no question about this. He's got control. He has both feet down clearly in the end zone. It is a touchdown.
Of course, the officials did not have the luxury that we enjoy of seeing that instant replay. The man on the spot didn't see it, so he couldn't call it. And now the Oilers are denied a touchdown. Oh, my.
So it was not a touchdown.
Good old Bum Phillips. Bum Phillips looking
Phillips,
very upset.
That's the what if. Is what if it was called a touchdown? I don't know what the score was at the time. If you guys watched the game in '79, let me know what the score was at that moment. But
yeah, it's a big touchdown, man. That would have been.
Imagine if we did that. So '79. Let's see what the date was in that game. The date of the game, January 6, 1980. So that would have been Super Bowl 13. Hold on. No. Okay. So the game was in 80. January 6, 80. So that would have been, yeah, that would have been Super Bowl 14, probably. Let me double check that, guys. Yeah, that would have been Super Bowl 14. And it was against the Mets. Imagine that. And it was in California in warm weather. So, Oilers make it Super Bowl 14. That could have gone. But the thing to watch out for on that Rams was Jack Youngblood. So that would have been interesting. How on flips would have schemed that, or not schemed, but in plan against Jack Youngblood. So that would have been an interesting what if there. Instead of Steelers in Super Bowl 14, Oilers in Super Bowl 14. That's my what if there. What's your next what if?
Oh, how many more we got?
Let's do one more for each.
One more for each. Oh, man. I'm going to pick a 2020. What if Isaiah Wilson worked out?
Oh.
Because here's the thing, though. You know, the Titans trade up for him in the first round. I had to look this up, actually, earlier today, because I didn't even talk about what ifs, right? I was thinking about, okay, Isaiah Wilson's a big what if for the Tennessee Titans. Right? The Titans had, I shouldn't say a big tackle problem, but they needed to focus on the tackle problem for the future, right? You know, Taylor Lewan was in his couple last years of his deal, right? And, you know, he was having injuries. and you have to think about in the future, okay, what's the next plans for him? Jack Conklin was a free agent, right? So they lost Conklin after the 2019 season, right? And Isaiah Wilson was the replacement for Conklin, and that's a disaster. And the Titans' right tackle situation has been an absolute historic and been a disaster since that moment, since Conklin left and went to the Browns. It's no disappointment to Isaiah Wilson, or excuse me, to Jack Conklin, but I just think that's an awful situation, 100%. And when you look at it today, the right tackles they brought in Dennis Daly, Nicholas Petit-Fier, and probably forgetting some other guys on my head, but not that many guys have worked out. And JC this year, it's JC Latham again for the second year in a row, and we're gonna have to see how Latham works out this year. But Isaiah Wilson, you have to wonder if he actually worked out, how would he look?
Yeah, that's a good one. This is the big wave I have.
Okay, let's see it. Let's hear it.
It's interesting, y'all. Let me pull this up for y'all. Where's that? The Oilers Bills comeback game. So January 3rd of '93. The Oilers were up 35-3, and the Bills came back to win 41-38. What if? And plus, that's a wild card game. So, what if the Oilers won that game? But the funny thing is, with that, the Bills went on the Super Bowl that year. I think it was the third one. So, let me find it. I think that was the second Cowboys Bills won that year. Hold on. No, it's the first one. Okay, so it's the blowout one. So let me look at the playoff. NFL playoffs. I believe it was that year. Yeah, that was the same year. Good. Okay. Bracket. So let's just do. Let's go here. But I don't know if the Oilers. Hold on. Okay, hold on. All right, you're ahead. I've been in the '92 season, I believe. No, there we go. I see it. I'm good. Playoffs. All right, now I'm messing up. So it's '92 season. All right. Let me look at the date again. 3rd of '93. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, but hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna get it right here soon. Hold on. You can help if you want. Gosh, I'm trying to find the bracket for it. For that.
The bracket of '93.
Yeah, because I'm getting like Kansas City beats Pittsburgh and Oilers lose to Kansas City. But I'm thinking that was the one. But that game was a wild card game against the Bills. Huh. So 93, 94, Oilers was second seed. So if it was a wild card game, it would have been 92, 93. Hold on. That's probably where I went wrong. Okay. It had been 92, 93.
I think it's the 92 season.
Yeah, 92. Yeah, I found it. So in the AFC, you had San Diego, Kansas City, Houston, Buffalo, San Diego, Miami, and Pittsburgh. So with Buffalo winning, they played Pittsburgh. So both Houston and Buffalo were wild cards, and Kansas City was a wild card. The division winners were Chargers and Steelers, and Chargers, Dolphins, and Steelers. I need to look at the standings. So it was a 92 season. NFL standings. Try to figure out who was the better team that year in the AFC. There we go. So Pittsburgh won the Central by one game. Buffalo, Miami, Pittsburgh, and San Diego all with 11 wins. Oh gosh, who was the number 1 seed then? That's the question. Wasn't it the Dolphins number? I'm confused here. Because Buffalo was a wild card.
No, it was Miami then. It was Miami.
Yeah. Hold on.
It looks like it's Miami.
Yeah, they had 340 points for, so it was Miami.
It was Miami, yeah.
So then if we won, we probably went to Miami. San Diego would have gone to Pittsburgh. So Miami had Marino.
Mhm.
Oh man, that would have been quite the game there.
Yeah.
Although they didn't have a running game, same with us. The orders were what was that offense thingy they were calling it? Holy crap, I'm losing. Run and shoot, I think it was. But with the Dolphins, the only thing other than Marino to worry about on that offense, probably Keith Jackson and the wide receivers like Mark Clayton. On their defense, you probably would have had to worry about. I don't know how they were number 1 seed. This team is weak, but back then it was good. Yeah, my God, Marino did a carry job there.
One of the most underrated. Dan Marino.
Yeah, Marino carried that team basically the whole time he was there. But with the orders that year, let's see if that roster. You had Moon. You had a better offense than the Dolphins did. So you have Moon, Gibbons, Childress, Greco, in which he was questionable as a kicker. I'm looking at this roster. Spencer Tillman, running back, he was all right. Okay. I could have sworn they had on the offensive line that year. They did not. I thought he was drafted in the 80s. That's interesting. But I think the Oilers would have, if they won that game against the Bills and that following week at the Dolphins, if it was that way back then, I like the Oilers roster better than the Dolphins. So I think they would have won that game against the Dolphins in the divisional. And then in the championship, oh my gosh, what have I done? Hold on. championship game, let's say whoever you got in Chiefs, Chargers, or Steelers. Let me look at these rosters. Oh boy. Oh, okay. Out of those three teams, let me look at Chargers first. The only thing Junior Seau of the Chargers, I think that was it at the time. Yeah, that team wasn't that good. And you had Eric Bellamy as the running back and John Carney as kicker.
Yep, Chiefs offensive coordinator today, Eric Bellamy. There you go.
Yeah, but I don't think the Chargers would have made it. Let's look at the Chiefs that season. I think they had Montana that year. It was after the Niners gave him up. That would make sense as why the Chiefs were there that year. And plus, they had a really good head coach back then, Schottenheimer. Oh, Dave Carrick. So now, the only thing that's good about that team, other than Schottenheimer, is Christian Okoke. And then on the defense, I think he was there then. Yeah, Derek Thomas. So those three things, maybe. I don't know. Let's look at the Steelers roster that year. I think that was the first year they had Bill Cowher. So, hold on. Yep. Oh, wow. Neil O'Donnell, our other backup we had in our history. That's funny how that circles there. Gary Anderson as kicker in Pittsburgh. Merrill Hodge, Kirkland, Cornell Lake.
Oh, what a name, Cornell Lake.
Yeah. Rod Woodson, a young Rod Woodson.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been Oilers and Steelers. You also had Greg Lloyd on the Steelers. So I would give it that way. So hypothetically, Steelers, Oilers, 92 division conference championship. Let's see with the other NFC side of it. Try to figure out the Super Bowl. I think we probably played out the same since the Cowboys were on the run that year. Washington was really good in those years. Let's see who was quarterback that year. I think it was the same quarterback they had in the Super Bowl. 9-7. Redskins. Oh, Cochran. Okay, so most likely not. Although you still had Darryl Green. Art Mock. Ripon. Yeah, he was still there. So, with Ripon, I don't know, maybe. Let's see the other teams. You had Niners and the Cowboys. Niners with Young at that time could have gone either way. Eagles, I'm not 100% sure. You have Cunningham, but maybe. But the Cowboys and Niners, you're guaranteed to have one of them in the Super Bowl in that era. So I would have said Niners or Cowboys, personally. You still had they still had Joe Montana, still had Jerry Rice, had Bill Romanowski on the defense. What else you have? Ricky Waters, Steve Young as backup. If I'm remembering correctly, the roster looking like, correct me if I'm wrong. McCaffrey had been on that team too. It doesn't look like it, but McCaffrey was on the Niners before he was a Bronco. Weird, but I think it was either the Niners or the Cowboys, no matter what. So if it's Cowboys against the Oilers in the Super Bowl, I think this would be the same result, hypothetically. What do you think about that? What if the Titans beat the Oilers beat the Bills in that wild card game? You think they will have made a run there?
Who's Dallas? Who does Dallas have that year? That's my biggest question.
So this is, I think they're back to back. So this is their first one. So 92, I think, yeah, that would have been their first Super Bowl with Aikman. So yeah, Aikman, Smith, Johnson, the announcer this in the real world today. AG, Larry Brown, backup Steve Berlin, who was a good backup. Which is, if you can go back and watch his stuff when Aikman was out, I think the first time they went to the playoffs with Aikman, Berline stepped in really well as a replacement that year and won that was that 5 or 6 games, and they made it to the divisional and lost to the Lions because they were riding the hot hand in Berline, but Aikman was healthy. And if Aikman was healthy, I think they would beat the Lions, but that was a couple years before this. This team also had Charles Haley, who just came over from the Niners. Urban, of course. Leon Lett with that play. Ken Norton Jr., of course, Emmitt Smith. So Darren Woodson as well, a rookie, or for sure, Darren Woodson. So yeah, I think the Cowboys were built to win the Super Bowl that year. What do you think? But do you think the Oilers would have made a run to the Super Bowl that year if they have won against the Bills?
Very much possible. I mean, if really that door is always open. You know, if you get through that first round, I mean, I know the door is always open, but very much so. I think they could very much put in a good run, and they could potentially see if Miami was probably the biggest opponent in the way for Tennessee. Pittsburgh was tough too, so
Yeah.
It's interesting, but you know, Miami would have been interesting matchup if they beat Miami. You go to Buffalo after that, and sure, potentially. Excuse me, if they beat Buffalo. I'm sorry, if they face Pittsburgh and then they go to Miami, but that would have been a good matchup to see.
Yeah. So that's the what ifs that we had. But I have something planned for the next live stream that we do. I'll share that with you on the DM to see what you think. So make sure you go like and subscribe if you haven't already, and tighten up, and we'll see you on the next one.